Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Former Steelers lineman puts Mike Tomlin on notice. Offensive lineman Willie Colon played more NFL seasons for Mike Tomlin than any other head coach. Colon clearly still admires the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. But that doesn't mean he will mince words while addressing Tomlin. During an April 30th guest appearance on FS1's The Carton Show, Colon stated that Tomlin will enter the 2024 season on the hot seat. When you talk about his overall record, you talk about 17 seasons. He has an 8-10 playoff record. Only 4 playoff win seasons, and he's had some bona fide teams even with Ben Roethlisberger, said Colon. The issue with Mike Tomlin right now is he wins games he's supposed to win, but he loses games he shouldn't lose. Go back to this year. He lost to the Patriots, Cardinals. Had no business losing those games, and now Steelers Nation is frustrated, right? They're looking at an organization right now who is well above average. They have everything that can go right with them, and then they lose boneheaded games. And I'm saying to myself, well, who are the Pittsburgh Steelers? Are they the bullies, or are they the dweebs? To Colon's point, Pittsburgh's losses to the Arizona Cardinals and New England Patriots in December fed the narrative that the Steelers overlook opponents under Tomlin. At the time, those 2 defeats threatened the team's chances of a playoff berth. The Steelers turned their season around, though, and made the postseason. But they lost in the first round again. Pittsburgh is currently on a 5-game postseason losing streak. The debate over whether Tomlin is on the hot seat entering 2024 is polarizing. If Steelers fans or Pittsburgh media ran the team, then there's little doubt Tomlin would have to win in 2024 to secure his job long-term. But there's been next to no dissatisfaction, at least publicly, voiced from team president Art Rooney too over Tomlin's performance. Supporters of Tomlin point to his Super Bowl victory and 17 straight seasons without a losing record as accomplishments that could make him a Hall of Fame coach. His players also love him. But as Colon mentioned, Tomlin also has a losing record in the playoffs and has only won postseason games in 2008, 2010, 2015 and 2016. It's one thing to get to the table, but once you get there, you have to win, said Colon. That's always gonna hang over his head until he gets there. Colon suggested he is rooting for Tomlin to silence his critics because he's a damn good coach that he loves. But Tomlin will have to win in the regular season and end his franchise's playoff losing streak in 2024 to silence some of his critics. Tomlin's contract is another factor that could determine whether he enters 2024 on the hot seat. As of May 5th, Tomlin is a lame duck coach, as he doesn't have a contract beyond this season. If the Steelers do not extend Tomlin before this fall, that will be a clear indication that the organization wants results before agreeing to continue with the current coaching staff. However, all indications are Tomlin will receive a contract extension before the season. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac reported on January 18 after Tomlin's postseason press conference that the team plans to extend Mike's contract. I would imagine those contract things are going to run their course, Tomlin told reporters in his postseason press conference. Art and I have a really good, transparent relationship. We communicate continually often. I don't imagine this is going to be an issue, and I imagine it's going to get done in a timely manner at the appropriate time. My mindset is to coach this football team. In all likelihood, Tomlin will receive an extension this summer. Until then, though, the media will likely continue to speculate about his future. Analyst predicts wild Steelers trade for DK Metcalf. The Pittsburgh Steelers are believed to be in the market for a veteran wideout, and according to one report, they've reached out to the Seattle Seahawks to see if DK Metcalf was a potential option. Well, if they are thinking of adding the Seattle star, what would they need to give up to acquire him? Fansided's John Bueller tossed out a wild trade scenario, handing Pittsburgh Metcalf but in exchange for multiple picks, and their current star wideout. In Bueller's trade scenario, the Steelers add Metcalf in exchange for a 2025 first-round pick, a 2025 third-round pick, a 2026 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick, and George Pickens. The reason to do this move if you are the Steelers is to get out of the frustrating 9-8 to 11-6 quagmire that head coach Mike Tomlin seems to find great comfort in, Bueller writes. Pittsburgh could honestly challenge Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland for divisional supremacy by dealing for a wide receiver of Metcalf's caliber. His rapport with Wilson could help the Steelers get to a 12 or a 13-win ceiling or so. Pickens still has 2 years left on his rookie contract and appears to be the team's number one receiver heading into 2024. While Metcalf is a star that's already proven himself in the NFL, it's hard to imagine the Steelers giving up their top weapon and as many picks as Bueller predicts for just one wideout. Daijun Edwards is an important player to keep an eye on for Steelers. This past week, the Pittsburgh Steelers decided to decline the fifth-year option on RB Najee Harris. Pittsburgh's backfield depth will be tested if he doesn't re-sign with the Steelers after the year. There is currently one RB who will be penciled in on the Steelers roster, and that's Jaylen Warren. Although he's a restricted free agent, there's a small percentage chance the Steelers could let him walk, unless something abnormal happens. Swiss Army knife Cordarrelle Patterson signed a 2-year deal this offseason, but he'll be 34 years old and based on his performance last season, 181 yards rushing and a 3.6 yards per carry, he's far from a lock to stick around. Enter former Georgia RB and Steelers UDFA signee Daijun Edwards. Edwards led the Bulldogs in rushing last season, finishing the campaign with 880 yards and 13 TDs in 12 games. He's built like a tank at 5 feet 10 inches, 210 pounds, and earned plenty of praise from his head coach in college. Coach Kirby Smart told reporters leading up to the draft, "So proud of who Daijun is and what he's grown to be. Here's a kid that wasn't even that heavily recruited, but we took the kid because we knew he was tough as hell, he would work hard, and he had a tremendous season for us to really help us. He's someone to watch for multiple reasons. First, this notion that running backs grow on trees is not exactly true. Jaylen Warren is an anomaly. Secondly, you would hate to waste early draft capital on a back. Look at this past year. How often have we said don't use a first-round pick on a running back because of the Najee Harris situation? Well, don't do it in the second or third either. You could say, well, they could always sign a running back, but they will likely have to pay one of their quarterbacks, a wide receiver, and more. Both of those rooms are already thin. This isn't necessarily me defending them for declining Harris's option. I think it's a fair hedge. I'm pointing out that Edwards has been overlooked in all of this. Former UCF QB John Reese Plumlee and WVU CB Beanie Bishop have received plenty of attention. But it's time to put Edwards on your radar. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Daijun Edwards? Leave your opinion in the comments.